awareness is not a belief, but it is the direct experience. Reactions arise from within and not from external events. So don't take forceful steps to be good. Let this goodness flow naturally from awareness. Awareness grows slowly. There is no hurry. This is Shubhangi from Pune, Maharashtra, India. I'm taking you to the Swadhyaya session, which is a book summary session on the book Awareness, the Key to Living in Balance by Osho. This book gives us the insights for new way of living, and it cultivates the mindfulness for harmony and inner peace. So before really we go to the contents, I will give some brief on forward because that was an eye opener for me when I started reading this book. So Osho begins us by highlighting a profound truth that most people live unconsciously. I mean, he says that we feel that we are awake, but we are not awake. We move like through robots and repeating the habits without knowing our existence or without experiencing the existence. This unconscious living creates a sense of emptiness and dissatisfaction despite of all the external achievements we have. I mean, we have good career, we have wealth, we are good in terms of physical health, but still we see that emptiness and dissatisfaction. So according to Osho, awareness is the key for transforming this state, this emptiness. So he says, or I should say that after reading this book, this is not a philosophical concept at all. This is the thing need to be experienced actually. So this concept is the practical tool that involves observing the thoughts, observing the emotions, observing the actions, observing the feelings, that too with clarity. So when we watch ourselves, we wake up actually. So he says that when you are in watchful state, then only you can claim that you are awake. Otherwise, although you are doing the things, but you are in sleep mode. And when you start watching yourself, every activity, it changes the life dramatically. And awareness brings us on in the present moment. It breaks the cycles, it breaks the patterns of mechanical living, and it opens the door to the peace and bliss. So, this introduction of the book sets the tone of this presentation, which emphasizes on watching all the things which you are doing, and that is awareness. So, he says that awareness is not a belief, but it is the direct experience. I mean, if although you know that you need to watch, but actually when you start watching, you will realize the beauty, you will realize that how miraculous it is. Okay, so with this we'll begin the journey towards the book. So I'll go to next slide. So this is the slide where we talk about the contents of the book. So this book is divided into 4 parts. uh, First part is understanding, that explores the nature of unconscious living and its consequences, including its impacts. And he has given some metaphors. Out of that, I chosen one, that is metaphor of men and rats. Then he also explains the roots of sufferings, and there is the concept of centering. Then the second part of this book is he talks about awareness as universal medicine. I mean, he says that there are many illnesses, but there is only one prescription, where he talks about the contradiction between the way analysts treat any problem and the what is the witness approach, plus how tension relaxation works and how the meditation will help you to come out of that situation. Then in third section, he talks about awareness in action. That is, applying the awareness in daily life, where he focuses on the practical steps of awareness, starting from center, completing each movement fully, then letting go of effort, decisiveness. And then he also goes ahead and gives the experiments in watching in the next section, where he introduces the timelessness, invisible touch, vipassana meditation, and awareness during sleep. So this is the overall agenda of this presentation. Let's begin the journey with the section of understanding, where, as I told you, he has given the consequences of not being conscious, unconscious actually. So this is Main and Rat's metaphor. He has used this for the endless race which we are going through. So he uses this image of a rat running endlessly in a wheel to illustrate the human life. Like the rat, he says that like the rat, we run tirelessly. We run tirelessly. What we do, we chase money, success, and recognition with the assumption that happiness lies just beyond the next point. When I achieve this, I will be happy. But when you actually at the next achievement, you will realize that again within a fraction of seconds sometimes or within some hours, that emptiness returns. Okay, so there is no finish line to this rat race actually. And he, moreover, he goes ahead and says that this tragedy is unlike the rat. I mean, although rat is running in the wheel, he does not have any goals. So unlike the rat, we have the goals. We keep the goals, and still we believe in running or believing, striving for achieving those dreams. Actually, so where it creates false hopes, and that lead to misery through the emptiness and dissatisfaction again. So it shows that we expect the joy from external gains, actually. But once we achieve, that emptiness has returned. And this cycle he calls as blind chasing, which is fueled by societal conditions, societal pressure, and moreover, it is by inner desire or personal desire. So he says that awareness is the first step to come out from this rat race or from this mechanical cycle where we are not in conscious, we are just living the mechanical life. So when we take a pause, when we watch, we see that how ineffective the chasing was. Actually, this constant striving and chasing the dreams or chasing the any milestone was actually ineffective. And we realize that true happiness is found within. It can be found in presence and not in pursuit. This insight lays the foundation where we can break the pattern, breaking free from the repetitive patterns and living consciously. Why it is important. So I'll go to next slide where he talks about roots of suffering and private worlds. So these are some new terms in this. So he says, Osho explains that if you observe that you are getting angry or there is a grid, when you are unconscious living, you feel that some external event is triggering those emotions. But when you are living consciously, you will realize that mind creates the pain through the constant desire, regret, and fear. So desire and fear comes from the thoughts which are from future, and regret comes when you are thinking of the past. So then he goes beyond and he say that you have your own private world, and these are created by your own thoughts, perceptions, judgments, and that distorts the reality and lead to the isolation and conflict actually. So if you get rid of these private worlds, then you will find the peace, and there the awareness comes. So the awareness dissolves these mental filters, barriers, and reveals emotions arise internally, which enables the freedom actually. And this will help you to reconnect with the reality, with your own being. And awareness is, that's why the awareness is important, which is the conscious living. And you will start observing how these emotions are coming, how and you will have the experience of real image of yourself. So when you observe the anger and love without judgment, we realize that reactions arise from within and not from external events. So He has given one example where he says that when you start observing, you will feel that this, although I was feeling that somebody has behaved in some way and that has created the anger, but when you start watching the emotions, watching the feelings, you will observe that it is not that external event has triggered this, but it is my weakness which is responsible to trigger these emotions. And this understanding will liberate us because it shows that freedom lies inside us. And by dismantling these private words through awareness, we reconnect with reality and experience life directly without distortion and with peace and bliss. I will go to the next slide where he again compares our life with a wheel, actually, and he gives the importance of centering, how important centering is. So he compares the life with spinning leaf, and he says that everyone is living from the periphery, where so many things are pulling you, and again you come to the periphery. So whoever, rather he claims everyone is living on the periphery because they are unconsciously living. They are not conscious actually. So we live on the rim of this wheel, and we are getting pulled by many every direction, which leads to exhaustion and disturbance or distortion. So if you start observing your activities or your actions, you will try to come to the center. So awareness helps us to bring in the center, and that is the silent core within that remains untouched by the external storms. So when he says that from this center, we act with clarity and balance. So when you are at center, then success or failure, either praising or criticizing, will not touch actually, and it will lose their power. So when you start observing, or when you decide that I want to live consciously, you have to come back to center again and again. And he goes ahead and says that it is possible that you will observe, you decide that I want to observe the right, I want to be in awareness, and you will observe that many a times you are deviating from that sankalpa rather. But he says that don't waste time in thinking or making or feeling guilty. But whenever you know that you are deviating, immediately come back to center, and that will help us to achieve the strength through inner anchoring actually. So this inner centering will create the strength and freedom, and it will help us to act with more clarity and resilience. So he has given the example of Buddha here. Like once Buddha was in the village, and he was getting abused by so many people, and he was very calm and quiet, and he said to people that if you're done, I want to move to another city or another village. I will go there, and while coming back again, I will come to the village, and if you want to talk anything, you can talk. Then somebody asked him, how come you are so silent when so many people are abusing you? He says that I am free from everything actually. You are talking to my periphery, but I am at center, I am at core, and I'm not taking this, I'm beyond this, and that's why I don't know what you're talked actually. So this kind of awareness Buddha has experienced, and he says that if you do this, you can become a master. Osho explains that this feeling of uh, being in center creates the center of stillness, the center of silence, and center of inner mastering. So be a master is not you are kind of controlling yourself, but he says that be in presence, that is the continuous presence, and you need to be continuously in present moment. You should be observing your own being, and that will help you to achieve the enlightenment actually. And although it feels easy, but it is not that easy, where he has that's why he has explained the steps of how we can achieve the awareness slowly, because as sir always says, we need not hurry actually. Whole eternity is there uh, to achieve the things which we want to achieve. Go slow, go steady. So I will go to the next slide where he explains about the steps of awareness. So the first step, he says that first be watchful of your body. I mean, he says that like normally we know, right, when we are getting angry, how your body behaves. So he says you start observing that, and once you get control of your own body language, you will achieve the pleasure. And he goes ahead and says that you will observe that some music is getting played, and you will enjoy the pleasure. So second step, once you master this, second step he's talking about is become aware of your thoughts. Here he says that no need to suppress the thoughts, no need to control the thoughts, and he gives the practice where you go ahead and lock yourself in the room and try to write down the thoughts when you observe particular emotions and you want to change the way you are responding to. And once you master this, you will see that happiness. So one first step is you have to control, or you have to get awareness of your how your body behaves. Another thing is you have to watchful of your thoughts. And uh, second step is difficult than first step. Then another difficult step he talks about is become aware of your feelings, emotions, and actions. So once you master uh, these two things, then you can go to third things where you really observe your emotions, action, and feelings, and that is the joy state. So this first thing you achieve the pleasure, second step you move forward, you will see the happiness, and third step you will see the joy. This together, when you are in coordination with all these three stages, you will achieve ultimate awareness. And that awareness is of one's aware. You are aware of one's awareness. That is the awakened state. And here we will observe the bliss. So, in short, awareness is a path towards bliss. And this is nothing but you will become Buddha here. Okay, so with this, I will go to another dimension where he talks about the new movement that is, and he takes the example of Christian metaphor, where he talks about horizontal and vertical dimension. So, horizontal dimension he talks about is the dimension or the movement of time. Here you observe the thoughts. You have thought A, you go to from thought A, you go to thought B. Thought B, you go to thought C. Then again, from thought C, you can come to thought A, thought B. So this is the mind. Okay, this is the dimension of mind, and it is time dimension. This is the horizontal thing. Which so this is the normal day-to-day things which we do. This horizontal axis symbolizes the love, compassion, and service to others in everyday life. And this action needs motivation. And he says that this behavior is observed when from the person, or rather everyone, you are in fast asleep. I mean, here you are in unconscious state. But when you go to vertical dimension, this is the vertical axis which represents the inward journey toward the divinity and higher consciousness. So here he says that the movement will not be from A to B, B to C. Rather, here mind will not come in picture. You are moving towards infinity, towards divinity through going inner. This is centering, or we can say that this is inner anchoring. So here you go from, I have used concentric images because I want to show the deepness. So you go to from A to A dash to A double dash, but you go within. Actually, this movement is not linear movement like horizontal axis. It is the deep movement where you are observing in observing state, and you are not in thought. These are the movements, and this won't require the motivation. This is the awareness. You achieve this through awareness. And on the horizontal axis, you are in the world, day-to-day world. This is everyday life. And on vertical axis, you will become God, actually. So we want to, if you want to achieve this state, many a times, Sir also refers that God is within you. Actually, you are the God. So if you want to achieve that, you need to be in awareness, and you want to focus more on vertical dimension. But as we know, right, so says that there should be balance. So this center shows the balance actually between everyday life and God. So I'll go to next slide uh, because I'm running short of time. Here he talks about many illnesses and one prescription. So here he takes the contradiction between analyst and the witness approach. So he says that role of analysis is to go to the root of suffering by analyzing the past causes of pain. But it may not be always true, and it will not give the healing. So instead of the modern psychology way, he suggests the path of witness. So witnessing means observing emotions like anger without judgment and leading to natural dissolution. So he says that instead of going to the analyst way, everyone should look at the problem through the by witnessing. Um, and you will observe that it transforms the life, and you will observe the freedom and true freedom and healing. So witnessing is important, and witnessing is nothing but awareness. uh, I think I will skip this tension relaxation and meditation slide because I want to touch upon the major part, which is awareness in action, where he talks about. I mean, this is not a theory, right? This is awareness must be beyond theory and into action. So Osho offers practical keys. He says that start from center by pausing before any activity to reconnect with your inner stillness. Then he also says that be decisive because the hesitation will drain the energy and it will create the anxiety. So, to achieve the clarity, you need to be very clear. You need not be in a hurry. Uh, or you need not be in confused state. Then he says that complete each movement fully. I mean, he says avoid the fragmented attention uh, of, to do the things rather than to focus on one thing at a time. So, as we know, right, multitasking is not advisable. Actually, if you want to do the progress in awareness, so he talks about the now moment, and fourth point he talks about is don't try to be good. Actually, don't pretend or take don't take forceful steps to be good. Let this goodness flow naturally from awareness rather than you forcing the emotions or you trying to become good or you changing your own behavior. So he says that real goodness will flow naturally from awareness without you taking effort or pride for that. So these steps you will observe that ordinary actions also will become meditation, making life harmonious and authentic. So authenticity will come through your own nature rather than you changing the nature, and it will come with when you act with clarity, spontaneity, uh, and with completeness. So it transforms the daily routines into sacred experiences. So I'll go to last section where he gives the very interesting section it is, where he gives the experiments in watching. He talks about four things here. I will touch upon in 1 minute one thing. Actually, it is this four stages itself can become one section or one session. So he says that cultivate timelessness. I mean, here he tells us about slowing down the daily activities like walking or eating, and that brings the awareness and frees us from the like you are running on the clock. You will come out from this time and space actually, and he says that when you start observing, it will become, and you will find that you are enjoying or you are feeling, you will feel more confident. So he says awareness grows slowly. There is no hurry. You have eternity at your disposal. No need to be hurry. If you Although the steps feel easy, when you decide to be in awareness, you will find many challenges, but don't feel guilty, don't repent. Instead of that, try to come back to center again and again. and don't rush behind the things. Let things happen naturally. Then second point of I found it very interesting, that is invisible touch. He talks about uh, he has given the experiment where he says that when you start observing, or when you are in watchful state, you will observe that you are radiating energy actually. And he has suggested one experiment, like when you are in watchful state and you're walking behind the person, and suddenly you will observe that person is turned back and he is observing you. He has realized that something has touched. So, and you are away from that person, but that touch is invisible touch, which is coming from the radiation which your body is radiating good vibes actually. And moreover, he says that it is not only other people, but you will start observing that you are touching the universe within. Okay, and it will add the grace and um, grace in your own being, and you'll observe. So normally we say that we this person has just passed by, or that person has just looked at you, and you feel that something is there actually, some so good vibes we have received. So this is nothing but that. And we many times we use that I touched by the feelings of the person. So this is the same. Then he talks about the Vipassana meditation, where I will just touch upon, because it is again by Buddha, and it is similar thing which normally we do in Anapanasati Dhyan. So he has given the 4 points need to be observed. So he says that when you start breathing in, that is the first point. When the breath goes inside, it stops for split of second. That is the second point which we need to observe. And when you try to breathing out, your breath turns. Actually, that turning is third point to be observed. And when you breathe out, the breath stops for split of second before you start another cycle, and that is the fourth point need to be observed. And when you are in witness mode, so vipassana meaning is witnessing, you are beyond your body and mind. And he says that integrate all these steps in your life, and that is more important to have the to so that you will feel that every activity you are doing in meditation. This is very interesting. He says that normally we say that awareness is nothing but you are, whenever you are doing the activities, you have to focus on walking, you are cutting vegetables, you have to focus on cutting the vegetables, and but he goes beyond. Okay, he says that this continuous you. Sorry, is my screen visible? Yeah. So this awareness should continue into sleep. So he says that by remaining conscious while falling asleep. So in the experiments also, he has mentioned that when you start observing, or when you are in watchful state, slowly you will observe that you you are you will feel that you can watch your sleep as well, and that will take you to the 24 hours watchful stage. And here you will observe, you will realize the fragility of life actually. And here he says the reminder, Osho concludes this with the powerful reminder that life is fragile, hanging by a thread. So when I shown that horizontal and vertical axis, he talks that axis, horizontal axis itself as a thread. And he says that you should be aware that death can come anytime. So he gives the suggestion, or gives the instructions, I should say, because Osho is very straightforward in his words. He says that there is no point in we postponing the awareness. Postponing the awareness is dangerous. This truth should not create the fear, actually. I mean, we know that death is there, death can come anytime, but he says that this truth should not create the fear, but it should create the urgency to live fully from now, awake and present. So, awareness transforms. With this, we can realize that awareness transforms not only life, but it transforms the death also, where it will turn it into a peaceful transition rather than fearful end. So if you practice awareness and you go deeper and deeper, One thing is it will help you to be in awareness 24 hours. And another thing is you it is nothing but truth which we want to realize, right? We want to realize with experience that death is from one dimension, it is death, but from another dimension, it is new beginning. So that he talks about. Okay, so I will just touch upon on the key takeaways from this book. Awareness is healing. We need to live from the center. Uh, Integrating mindfulness is very important. We should not postpone awareness at least. And we need to start the awareness immediately from now. So I will just read the key message. Key message is to begin awareness now, as it is essential for living in balance and gracefully meeting life and death. Okay, this covers the complete topic. And I have given some reflections actually where you can reflect upon your own awareness because everyone is different. And then the practical application is start with small steps like watching breath and observing thoughts, which anyway we do. So I should proudly say that everyone who is attending, they have started their journey towards awareness. And he gives another action is live awake and fully, letting awareness guide each movement towards peace, freedom, and balance. Thank you so much. It was really nice reading. I recommend that you read this book because there are many examples which I couldn't cover due to the time constraint because I wanted to touch upon all the topics. I know that awareness, many times we talk, but this has given really a different perspective. And once you read the book, you will start observing the awareness from with immediate effect that I can guarantee you. Thank you so much. I will stop sharing the screen. If you have any questions, raise the hands and I will try to answer from my understanding from the book. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Shubhangi. It's a wonderful presentation. My question is, I think you stopped the presentation, but going back to your thought patterns you explained in the specific slide, then just a bit confusing. Can you explain a little bit more towards that?
So what he talks about, no? He talks about the dimension actually. So I will take horizontal axis. He says that on horizontal, you are always, your mind plays the game and you are always in thought. So there the movement come in picture. You are going in past, you are thinking about the future, you are worrying about the future. And this happens when you are in unconscious living. So this is the everyday life, and that particular thing needs motivation actually. But he talks about the vertical dimension, where the vertical dimension is not the linear movement. It is the movement where you go deep in your sadhana, I should say. And this happens when only when you start awareness, you start watching yourself actually. So this is horizontal thing is about thought and vertical thing is about mind. And when you go deeper and deeper, you are going towards eternity. That's what I tried to explain. So since we know, right, cross is Christian metaphor. So he goes ahead and says that on horizontal, you are Jesus. Okay, so that is the human incarnation of Jesus. But on vertical, you are Christ. That means you are awakened person. So if I go ahead and explain you the same thing in our day-to-day spiritual words or spiritual terms we use, on horizontal, you are in karma yoga. Okay, you are in service, you have compassion, you have feelings, you have emotions. And on vertical, you are in Raja Yoga, where you are trying to go within. You are in meditative state. You are uh, you are trying to become your own better version, and you are mindful actually. I hope I am clear in answering.
Yeah, got that. So the horizontal ascension is like using our thought patterns and by keep observing and getting awareness, we can ascend vertically and get into the, eternal truth.
Rather,
Is that
we are
what it
not
is? Like
doing anything.
I may
Right. So
to some.
we are not doing anything here. She says that you just be mindful and you'll start observing this change actually.
Oh, okay.
Okay. But he also Osho says that you should be in balance, and Sir also says, right, you should
Yeah.
be 50-50%. I mean, you should not only focus on spirituality and live everything, or only everyday life, and you will not go into awareness. Then you will go into that rat race, which I explained, right? So that's the case. Padmavati.
Yeah, it was really an insightful session. We really enjoyed. Though I am aware that I am doing mistakes, like I'm getting angry easily, aging is there, and everyday mundane work, day-to-day work, it is there. Though I am aware that I am not doing the right thing, I'm unable to overcome that. How is that possible? You are saying Raja Yoga, no? I cannot even
Mhm.
reach that. So I don't know.
So it is not only you, ma'am. Everyone
Uh,
goes through it. And as I said, right, he
uh,
Osho also writes, and Sir also many times says
uh,
that this is slow and steady process. It is not that we want to achieve everything in one janma. It is eternity as at your disposal. Actually, that's what Osho also says. Okay, so he makes a point. Although he's very straightforward, he makes a point that when you observe such things, okay, that you are deviating from the sankalpa of mindfulness, what you do, and you want to work upon that. When you observe, instead of repenting, instead of feeling guilty and wasting your energy and time, you come back to center. And eventually, when you try this, you will observe that the gap between you are not following and you're following will get reduced, actually. Okay, so this is not only you, it happens, and we are talking about, I explained, right? I mean, there are 3 steps, and the fourth step is like you are becoming Buddha. So we know how much sadhana Buddha has done, right? So although the steps looks easy, but it comes with practice, and you have to do more and more meditation, because in Vipassana, he explained, when you watch your breath, you will realize that whatever activities you are doing, you are in watchful state. And he says he has given in Vipassana that for 48 minutes, when you achieve the awareness, you are enlightened. 48 minutes he talks about, and he has given the experiment. You observe yourself for 60 seconds, and you will see that how 60 seconds also is difficult. So you can imagine the kind of patience it will require to get enlightened.
yeah, true. That's not happening. Though I'm sitting and closing my eyes, it has not happened so far. I don't know how to achieve it. Let me wait patiently. And what is the title of the book, by the way? Really, I'm impressed. Uh,
Awareness, a key to live life with balance, actually. I'm just
Very nice, very nice,
awareness.
very thought. Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, you read a book, ma'am. Actually, it is really wonderful book. Actually, it is hardly
Mhm.
214 pages, and he has given many examples, and you can see the language he is using, or the flow is really wonderful. Actually,
Mhm.
yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for joining and listening patiently.